What makes people sound black and white, and why do people care?
What people's perception of what makes people sound black and white is the dialect. Like they tend to say white people talk proper and have the impression that black people don't. And I honestly don't know why people care because it doesn't make me a difference.
I don't know. I don't think, well, me personally, I don't necessarily care. But I think what it actually is enunciation, where you what letters you put the emphasis on and what words, and yeah.
I think that it depends on region and where a person comes from. I've heard certain white people who, if you were blind, would sound like black people. And I've heard some black people that if you were blind would sound like white people. But I think people get caught up in stereotypes. So I don't really think it matters, what you sound like or where you're from or what the color of your skin is, as long as you can articulate, your views and your opinions and your thoughts and your ideas.
I think people sound black and white based off where they come from and the people that they grew up around. Like, if I grew up around a bunch of white people, I would sound white. But since I grew up around a bunch of black people, I sound black. So it all just depends on who you came up around.
Well, honestly, I don't think people sound black and white. I think that's a misconception that people have, because I think it varies on where you're from, honestly, what you sound like. So people who are from New Jersey, which is where I'm from, there's black people, white people, all kinds of people. We all pretty much talk the same. So you can't say, oh, he sounds black or she sounds white, because we're all speaking with the same tones, rhythms, and we're saying the same slang terms. And just like you and me, we have different slang, but that doesn't mean that we're speaking black or white. We're still speaking normal English, and just the way that you speak, it's relative to where you live. So I could live in a predominantly white community with a couple of black people, and those black people will sound like the white people, but people will assume that they sound black just because they are, even though they could be talking exactly like the predominantly like the white people are talking. Same goes for the opposite. If you live in a predominantly black community and you have white people, then if you hear them speaking black or speaking white, they will most likely be speaking the same. You'll just think that they're different because of their
I
color.
believe that it's something that's regional. I'm from Midwest to the north, and what I consider to be what this stereotypical black or whatever is something that kind of sounds like it's very from the south. And so I feel like a lot of my friends that are black that are actually from the north sound just like me, or what people consider white, because I can go down to the south. I feel like we try to always make this distance between blacks and whites, and we always try to make this gap, but I think that we're all pretty much the same, and we just, I don't know, I think we need to get rid of that whole gap between us, and we need to stop recognizing the differences and start realizing our similarities. And so I think that people care about this because they want to see the differences, they want to distance themselves, and I think that's just a problem.
Honestly, to me it doesn't make any difference. A white kid can talk in a way that classifies as somebody would think black, and a black kid can talk as somebody would classify as white. It's a way you talk, and it's your accent and your demeanor. That's all what plays into it. So anyone can talk anyway. It's just kind of how we describe it.
I think it has to do with dialect, just sort of the way people speak, the way they were brought up. And I think when you hear someone else's style of speaking, sometimes it'll put you off. And I think that's why people are weirded out, or sometimes people think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that we all.
Depends on where you came from.
I think that someone would sound black if they held out some of their vowels more in the words that they're saying. I think that's the biggest thing. Instead of hey girl, can tell the difference. And then why people care? I don't think people care very much. I think that it just happens and then some people notice. Like, I don't think I've ever seen someone get made fun of because of, if they talk white or black,
Yeah.
It's just something that people notice.
Well, Allison, I'm going to tell you why. There's nothing, and I don't think people care.